think it's wonderful to actually have an alternative for doing from classical violin. I value classical violin, and I think the classical technique is very important. But I think it's also, if you have a chance to learn a different idiom or a different style, and all the pieces are quite short, so when you are playing a traditional exam, you're kind of streaming a couple of different styles together, which means you've got to learn different techniques for the traditional exam.
Well, I think, especially living in Scotland, and where I come from, Shetland, which is an absolute hotbed of fiddle music, it's fantastic for the youngsters to have fiddle grades, and that they can actually get the same credit for the work they put in next to their contemporaries who are playing jazz and classical music.
The demands of a fiddle exam is to get the style of the piece of music that's in front of you. For a slow air, you have to show an awful lot of emotion, and you have to use different colours. It's not always printed on the page, the dynamics, etc. So you actually have to read the music and make something of it yourself. The strathspey is quite a unique style. It may look simple on the paper, but to get the lift for the dancer, which is what it was written for, is actually quite difficult, and there's a lot of notes, and there's a lot of bow technique from using just from the one end of the bow to the other end of the bow, and it's the speed of the bow will make a difference to the sound. The hornpipe, again, will look easy on the paper, but there's a lot of cross strings, and so therefore it may look, simple, as I said, on the paper compared to a classical exam, but there's actually a lot more in it.
I think some of the more interesting and exciting pieces are some of the new material that's been added in this revamp of the syllabus. And in particular, I'm delighted to see some of the contemporary music by Adam Sutherland, Gary Porchvin, Avernich and Trip to the Market appearing at grade 5, and also a set by Marie Fielding as well, featuring some lovely tunes there. Mumbai in particular is a favourite.
The traditional exams and the classical exams do share certain things in common. The idea for having a good sound, good technique is important in both. Whereas on a classical you may do more position work, in a traditional exam you have to really nail the style. For example, if it's just strathspey, it really is a distinct dance which you have to get the actual rhythm for, and if you don't get the rhythm right, then you're not actually playing in the style of what is really required. Also, in a lot of classical exams, there is not so many what we call grace notes, like acatures, as I mentioned in some of the other previous works that I've done. You need to be able to add lots of style, and your own personal kind of interpretation is allowed in traditional music, where it might be much more stricter and controlled in classical exams.
Well, for me, the benefit of a grade exam, certainly I can talk from experience about my time spent teaching in Shetland, where the opportunities for the children to perform was mainly concerts and local competition. And of course at competition there's only one winner, but everyone's a winner with a grade. You all get credit for the work you've done.